Good afternoon, folks. My name is Dennis Weaven, and I'm with Energy Solutions of America. What I'm going to share with you this afternoon is what was shared with me by a young man by the name of Matt back in, let me see, I had to get my calendar out to remember my dates, but it goes back to November of 2006. In November 2006, a young man by the name of Matt walked into my office. Well, my background is, I've been in construction for over 25 years. I've been self-employed as a contractor. I was born and raised in Iowa. My wife and I graduated from high school together. How do I say this? I was in love with her before she fell in love with me. I guess you can say I chased her around in high school. And after 2 years of college, my wife and I got together. Been married ever since. Been married 29 years. We got 2 girls. And the very first year we were married, we moved to California. We loaded up the truck. We moved out there. We lived out there 6.5 years. And in that 6.5 years we lived in California, we survived an earthquake, a forest fire, and 60 days in LA. And if you've ever been to LA, nothing personal against the people who live there, but it's pretty hard to get around. And after 60 days in LA, my wife and I decided it was time to move back to Iowa. And being born and raised in Iowa, I was worried about feeding my family, so we moved to a little community outside of Des Moines, Iowa. And we've been here ever since. And in that time frame, I've been a building contractor. My life has been a licensed real estate agent for over 18 years. And our 2 girls, both of them went on and had great careers in school and in college in athletics. And so we've been very fortunate. But along that time frame in construction, a young man by the name of Matt walks in my office and he says to me, he says, "Dennis, I need 10 minutes of your time. I'd like to share something with you." And I told him, I said, "Matt, I'm busy. I don't have time right now, but let me get back to you." And Matt was a young man. He was in his early 20s, and he kind of had that sad look. And I said, "Matt, what's wrong? What's going on?" And he says, "Well, I've changed jobs." I said, "Okay." I said, "And let me guess, since I don't need to buy anything from you today, because you don't work for that company anymore, you'd like to share with me what your new company has to offer?" And his answer was yes. I said, "Well, Matt, what is it?" And Matt got out, went out to his truck and got his stuff out, and we sat it up in my office, right literally on this table, the same table I'm showing you this demonstration on. And this is what he showed me. It's called reflective insulation. It's got a layer of insulation in the middle, and it's got the reflectivity on both sides. And when he showed me this, I kind of probably the same way you're looking at it right now. It didn't mean anything to me. And so he says to me, he says, "Dennis, let me show you how it works." I said, "Matt, once again, I'm telling you, I'm busy, I don't have time today." And Matt looked at me, sat and I said, "Okay, Matt, go get your stuff." Comes on out to his truck, comes back, and sets this light demonstration up. I don't know if any of you folks have ever seen this before, but I never had. 25 years in the building industry, I've got a young man that's on a second week on the job. He's going to walk in and show me something I didn't know. And what he does is he sets this, and I'm going to show you this in a little bit, puts the temperatures in, the probe in there. And after about 5 minutes of me being on the phone and ignoring Matt, Matt showed me these temperature gauges. And the second time Matt said to me, "Dennis, you need to see this," I turned around and I looked at him, and I looked at him and said, "Matt, what's going on? What do you have here? How is it that I can see such a drastic temperature change?" And he said to me, he said, "Dennis, I've been trying to tell you this, you haven't been paying attention." And literally I didn't give him the time of day, other than this 3 or 4 minute demonstration I'm going to give you here in a little bit. And when he showed me that, I said, "Matt, wait a second. What am I missing?" He said, "You're not missing anything." I said, "What do I got to do?" Matt said, "Oh, I got to measure your house." I said, "Please go measure it." So I called my wife up. My wife's name's Judy, and I called her up and I said, "Honey, Matt's on the way over to measure the house." And she said, "Time out. What for? And who's Matt?" And my comment here got me in trouble, but I'm still married. And I said, and my comment to her was, "Don't worry about it, just let him in." Okay? Matt goes in, measures the house, comes back to my office, gives me the estimate. And I said, "Matt, what am I missing? There's something here that I'm not seeing. This is all it's going to cost. It's going to make my home more comfortable. You're going to cut down on my utility bills, and you guarantee it. What am I missing?" Matt said, "Nothing." I said, "No, wait a second. I'm going to ask you one more time. This is all it's going to cost. It's going to make my house more comfortable. You guarantee it. and it's going to cut down on my utility bills with a savings like I've never seen before in my life. I said, yeah. I said, it's a simple, common sense decision, go put it in. The mistake I made after I told Matt to go ahead and install this was about 5 days later the phone rings, and it's my wife. Answers the phone. I answered the phone. It was early one morning. She says, honey, got a question for you. I said, what, babe? She said, what's all these guys doing in our driveway this morning? And I said, oh, I forgot to tell you. We're putting that stuff in the attic today I was talking about last week. At that time, I didn't need a cell phone. I didn't need a speakerphone. I heard everything my wife was saying to me all the way across town. Honey, I don't know what you're doing, but it sure better work. And with that, at that point in November of 2006, I became a customer. As we go on, it was in February of 2007. Now in Iowa, it gets pretty cold in February. I don't know about where you folks are from, but in Iowa, we like to think it gets pretty cold here. Well, it was a cold afternoon in February, a cold morning actually, and my wife called me. I was working out on a job site. And she said, honey, I know you're busy, but I got something I need to tell you. I said, what's that? And what she said to me was, you know that stupid stuff we put in the attic? I said, yeah. She goes, I think it works. I said, why? And she said, because we got the lowest utility bill we've ever had in the month of February. Understand, I'm the contractor. I'm the home builder. I built my own home in 1998, and at that time, I put everything in my home that I felt the home needed for the energy efficiency that would reach the highest levels I could build it to. 2x6 exterior walls, tie-back completely wrapped around the house, and all the energy efficiencies we could use. But we still had an uncomfortable bedroom, master bedroom, and we had an uncomfortable, my daughter's bedroom on the south side of the house. And so, that first summer I lived in the home, and we noticed we had an air conditioner that wasn't keeping up. And I called my contractors out. I said to them, I said, okay, Dale, I said, well, I got to ask you a question. So what's that, Dennis? I said, how come my air conditioner isn't keeping up in my home right now? And his comment to me was, Dennis, we should have put 2 zones in your home. And my comment back was, Dale, I know better. You and I have built this house before for other clients. This is not the case. What else could it be? And his solution to me was, Dennis, you built your master bedroom bigger than normal. You put it out over the garage. So now you're taking up the heat from the garage. It's rising up into your bedroom and causing the air conditioner not to keep up. I said, I don't like it, but I guess I got to live with it. So, okay, why is my daughter's bedroom so hot? So Dennis, the same thing. Your bedroom's on the southwest corner of the home. It catches that late afternoon sun well into the sunset, the hottest time of day, and that's what heats up your daughter's bedroom. I lived with that for 9 years. For 9 years. And I even called out another AC contractor, heating and cooling contractor, and he gave me the same examples. And so I knew I had to live with it. As that first summer come along, my daughter came downstairs one morning and she says, Dad, how come the air conditioning's working so good in my room this year? And I looked at her and I was drinking a cup of coffee, reading the morning paper with my wife. I tapped on the table and I said, I don't know, but don't say nothing. Second, she left. My wife says to me, she says, you know, I think she's right. Our bedroom is a lot cooler, haven't you noticed? And I said, yeah, I have, but I don't know why. And I said, and I did the same thing with my wife. I said, let's just be happy that it's finally working like it's supposed to. Let's go on with the rest of the day. As the summer developed, the very first summer we had this home, summer of 2007, I saw Matt out on a job site late in August. And one of the things he stopped and said to me was, hey, how's everything going? I understand your wife's happy. She's been sending me quite a few customers, and I appreciate it. I said, Matt, no problem. We couldn't be any happier. He said, the next thing he said to me was, Dennis, how's your air conditioner working? At that point, my head turned on a swivel, and I looked at him and I said, what are you talking about? And he says, well, how's your air conditioner doing? Is it keeping up this summer? I said, yeah. Why? Matt looked at me and smiled and said, Dennis, I told you, this reflective insulation would make the difference in your air conditioning this summer and make your home more comfortable. And in the winter, we'll add a blanket to your home and make yourself energy efficient. At that point, I realized I never listened to Matt. I never gave Matt the time that he deserved to give an explanation of this product and why the reflective insulation works so well in my home. Okay? That's how I got started. Now, fast forward into today, I never believed I would be standing here talking in front of you. But what did happen was a gentleman asked me to come along and help install this product. When I saw the product that he was asking me to install with my contracting crews, I instantly said yes without him even knowing what, he had never even sold it before himself. And the reason I said yes, because I was already a very satisfied customer, and my wife and I recovered, in 38 months we recovered the investment of this. So we really had a 35–36% return on our investment. Okay? Wasn't planning on the return, I just knew it was something that made sense. So now, what I'm going to share with you is what Matt never gave me time for. So please bear with me. And I'm going to share with you for the next few minutes information that we've gathered over the last few years, and I'm going to share it to the best of my ability. I'm going to list to you first on this page. I'm going to show you this page. I'm going to read it. It's called Summary of Benefits. On that summary of benefits, the very first thing we put at the very top of the page is made in the USA. I don't know how you folks feel about it, but where we're at today in our business economy and where our world's going right now, we're very proud of the fact that we can say made in the USA. The second thing I'm going to say to you, I'm going to read to you a statement that was provided with us that comes from originally originated from the Department of Energy. And here's what it says. It's been determined that at least 25% and as much as 50% in energy savings can be realized immediately depending on the lifestyle, family size, building configuration, and climate. Now I'm going to turn that around a little bit. Let's just say that statement by the Department of Energy is correct. That statement was put out way before I ever put this in my home. It was put out way before I even knew what this stuff was. Okay? But if they're correct in their statement, not me, if they are, and you say 25 to 50% on your energy bills, if you say 50% on your energy bills in 1 year, how many months free utilities does that equate to in your mind? In my carpenter mind, I call it my common sense, it equates out to 6 months free utilities. Okay? If you turn that around and you go 25%, you only have a 25% savings. And with a 25% savings, in 12 months, how many months free utilities would that equate to? In my math, that equates to 3 months free utilities. So according to the Department of Energy, if they're correct, not me, if that statement's correct, you're going to save between 3 and 6 months free utilities every year just by having this in your home. Okay? Now, there's another institution that did a lot of research on it. They put it in their labs, they broke it down and studied it, and they did the same thing with absolutely no beneficial gain, nothing to gain in their world. But when they broke this down, here's what it says. And it was done by the Texas A&M University. Here's what they said. Adding reflective insulation to R19 insulation proved more effective than upgrading to R30. Combinations of conventional insulation and reflective insulation showed a faster payback than insulation upgrades alone. Let me read that one more time. Combinations of conventional insulation and reflective insulation showed a faster payback than insulation upgrades alone. Now, in my terms, I'm going to show you how I see this, okay? And it says, adding reflective insulation to R19 insulation. Let's say this is the insulation in your attic today, this sponge. And according to them, adding reflective insulation to R19 insulation has a better payback than an insulation upgrade. But if you put in an upgrade, let's say you've already had a home and you did what I did. You got that R38 pushing R48, you got 2 feet of blown-in insulation in your attic, and this is your home right here. That's good. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, especially depending on your climate. But to go on to say, and I'm going to turn around and read this one more time so I'm as accurate as I can, combinations of conventional insulation and reflective insulation showed a faster payback than insulation upgrades alone. So if you've already got this, according to Texas A&M, that pays better. According to Texas A&M, if you're going to do anything, if you've got this in your home now, this is the best combination. And hopefully, in the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you why these institutions will say that. Okay? Continuing on, excuse me. It extends the life of your air conditioner and your furnace. Why? The reason it extends the life of your air conditioner and furnace is because what is the #1 usage of power in your home today, right now in the middle of the summer? As I'm recording this, it's 20 to 6, and when I walked in the door, it was 94 degrees outside. So what's the #1 use of energy this summer? Your air conditioner. What's the #1 use of energy in the winter? Your furnace. So what we're going to do is we're going to extend the life of your air conditioner and your furnace because we're not going to turn them on. We're going to keep your temperature the same in your home as you enjoy it. If you live at 75 degrees year round, keep it that way today. But what we're going to do, let's just say right over here on this wall is your thermostat in your home. What we're going to do is we're going to turn your thermostat off for extended periods of time, creating the most energy savings you can ever get in your home efficiently. Okay? So remember, all we're going to do is turn your air conditioner off for extended periods of time. It lasts a lifetime. It's a one-time install. It's unaffected by mildew and mold. It breathes. It's perforated so it breathes, so it doesn't trap any humidity in your home. And it has a fire rating Class 1 and Class A. Now, that fire rating might not mean much to you, but if you've ever known somebody that's ever lost their home to a fire, let alone a loss of life, it would mean everything to you. The thing that you put in your attic, above your home, above where you sleep and where you rest at night, above your kids' beds, above your grandkids' bed, you better not be able to take a lighter and burn it up. It better not be flammable, in my opinion. You can do what you want, everybody can, you're welcome to, but in my opinion, it better not be flammable. Because we have an R9 insulation value, we are an approved Energy Star product partner. And so, your home's going to be cooler in the summer and warmer in the winter for less money. Okay? Now that was my very first slide, and that doesn't take me that long to go through each slide or we'd be out of time already. Okay? So bear with me. I'm going to show you, and I always say this, I'm going to show you my PowerPoint presentation here. How you like it? Trying to keep the economics and keep it feasible, but what I am going to show you right here on this slide is I'm going to show you how efficient our product works. Okay? And what you're going to see right here on this product is you're going to see arrows. And when you see these arrows shining down, all that is the sun heating up your house. This is a cutaway view of it. The heat gets in your insulation and transfers down into your home. How do you know when there's excess heat entering your home? We'll walk back over here. You know there's excess heat entering your home when your air conditioner turns on. That's your indicator. You set your air conditioner where you'd like it to be, and when it turns on, you know there's excess heat entering your home. So what we're going to do, and what we do is we block the heat entering your home. We put this on top of your insulation, and that reflects the radiant heat and all the heat that's trying to enter your home. It reflects it back. It allows the heat not to enter your home, not getting in your insulation and not falling into your ceiling. So thus, as many customers report, your air conditioner doesn't run as often. Extending the life of it, making it last longer, explaining to you hopefully why your heating and cooling contractor may or may not recommend this. The reason they may not recommend it is because they make their living on repairs and on installing new systems. If we make your system last, does your heating and cooling contractor really need you? Okay? Now the next thing I'm going to show you is just the opposite. Remember in science, the simple science that I learned in school is hot and cold chase each other. Okay? Unfortunately for our heating and cooling systems, hot and cold chase each other the wrong way all year. Okay, so here's what happens in the winter. The hot air rises out of your house, chases up to the cold air in your attic, goes through your insulation, and if you live in a northern climate, and if you've ever had a light snow, and you wake up in the morning and you look across the street at your neighbor's house, you ever wondered why the snow's missing on his roof already before the sun comes out? It's because what we have is we have heat loss. And I think all of us know that's what causes ice jams, is heat loss up in the extreme northern climates where they have excessive amounts of snow. And in our climate, it allows the heat to rise, which means my furnace is going to turn on as soon as I lose 1 degree of heat. My furnace turns on. So energy companies, what do they think about us? You will see energy companies say all kinds of things about us, and the majority of them are not very good. And the reason they say that is because what are we doing? If everybody in your community today put this in their home tomorrow, and the Department of Energy statement is even remotely close, and we all saved 25% on our energy bills, what's going to happen to an energy company in any community that has a permanent loss of 25% of their revenue? What's going to happen? So when you call and you contact your energy companies, and you call and you contact your experts, I consider myself that expert. I spent 25 years in the building industry alone. And when I talk to homeowners today, the first people we like to consult with is the same ones I did. Well, how come my installation contractor never called me up and said to me, Dennis, we need to talk about something. I'm going to show you how to save money in your homes. See, he never once showed me this. He never once said, Dennis, put that blanket in your attic and it'll be the warmest winter you ever had. My wife knows the difference because it happened in our personal home. Okay? And it can happen for you. Now, that energy savings becomes significant right away. The first thing you notice is the comfort. In the summer, when we're outside, I had a gentleman down in San Antonio, Texas, explain it to me this way. He said in San Antonio, Texas, it's over 100 degrees almost every day. And 2 hours in the sun in San Antonio, Texas could cause major heat complications for anybody. He also went on to say that day that if you went outside in that 100-degree heat and with a little bit of breeze and a shade tree, you can take a nap. That's what this is. This is a reflective insulation blanket that gives you 100% shade all summer. And in the winter, this puts a blanket over the top of your house. Now we all walk outside on a cold day with a jacket on. Now today I'm in a pair of shorts. Don't know if you can see them or not. But today I'm standing here in a pair of flip-flops and shorts because it's that hot outside. But in the winter, we don't leave home without a coat. Most of us won't go outside without a coat. Especially a hat. How many times in the winter growing up did one of your parents tell you, Dennis, don't go outside without a hat on. You're going to get sick, you're going to get pneumonia, because most of your heat loss goes out the top. How much cold air penetrates your home in the winter? In the winter, 75% of all your heat loss goes right out the roof. So if you want to save some real energy in the winter, why don't we attract and go after that 75% of heat loss? And in the summer, 93% of all the heat gain in your home comes right through the roof. It doesn't come through your windows. It doesn't come through my daughter's south bedroom like I thought it did. It was because of all the other heat coming in the house that one little 3-foot by 4-foot window, 12 square feet, was just enough to make off the difference because I had excess heat coming in through the attic. Okay? Now, inevitably, as I do these seminars and I talk to people and we share this information, there's always somebody that is a bigger expert than me and has more knowledge. And the last thing I'm going to do is debate that engineer or that expert. Okay? But I can tell you this much. I have a lot of personal experience. I have spent a lot of time in attics. I've personally built over 1,000 houses. I do understand what it takes to build a home efficiently, at least in our climate throughout the country. I've worked in all parts of the country. Okay? Now I'm going to read to you what I found out after I started this business. And this was put out, this is called Misconceptions About Insulation. Misconceptions about insulation. Okay? And here's what it says. The FTC, a federal agency of the United States government, defines home insulation as any material mainly used to slow down heat flow. Insulation works as a sponge to absorb the heat flow. Conventional insulation slows down heat flow by absorption. And when it can no longer absorb the heat flow, the heat enters your home in the summer and leaves your home in the winter. Okay? Now, what kind of an explanation do I give you behind that? Okay, here's how I'm going to word it. I hope you can see me right over here. Okay, let's just say that this is your thermostat right here. Unfortunately, where I got the camera, I don't have a thermostat. Okay, let's say this is your thermostat right here in your room. Well, what happens in your attic is the sun shines on your attic, heats up your insulation, it does just as it's designed to do, and it absorbs heat. When it's full, it passes through into your home. Now, the example I used is if I had a big glass of water sitting right here on this table, and I knocked this glass of water over by accident, and I took this sponge, and it was a big glass of water. In fact, I can even show you the water. Here's the glass of water that I'm referring to, okay? If I knocked this glass of water over, and I used this, and I went over and I sponged that glass of water up, I could probably absorb almost all that water that I have in this sponge. But if that was a pitcher of water, and I spilt that pitcher of water, and it over, and I went over, and I went like this, and I filled this sponge up with all the water I could get in it, and I picked it up, what would happen? It's going to drip. Why is it going to drip? Because it's saturated. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what happens in your home when your air conditioner turns on. Your insulation is saturated, and it drips down into through your ceiling, through your sheetrock, and absorbs into your home. Turn it on your air conditioner with 1 degree of temperature change. 1 degree of temperature change, and your attic, your air conditioner turns on. So what we're going to do, and what we do, is we stop that heat from entering your home. Why didn't your insulation contractor tell you about that? Well, there's in insulation and in heat in science, there's 3 major types of heat. There's convection, there's conduction, and there's radiant heat. When we have radiant heat in your house, and the radiant heat that builds up, let's say outside in your parking lot this afternoon on an 80-degree day, it's very feasible that if you spend an hour in a store, eating in a restaurant, and you had your grandson or granddaughter in that car, or your son or daughter, even your favorite pet, and you leave the windows up and you leave that, what's going to happen to them after an hour in the car? They're going to pass away. We're going to lose them because there's so much heat building up in that car out there that it's going to reach a temperature of approximately 125, 135, 145 degrees. And they're going to die. Okay? Well, if we crawled in our own attics on any given day, there's a very, very good possibility the exact same thing is going to happen to you if you got hurt in your attic and you spent too much time up there. You're going to perish. Okay? That's how hot it is. Because we have an air conditioner in our house, and because we have this buffer of drywall and insulation stopping the penetration of heat that we don't see, we don't feel that heat, and we don't realize why it's working so well. Well, I'm going to take this, I don't know if you can see this, I'm going to shoot a red dot right there on the state of Iowa, approximately like we're right where we are. And in this room right now, the temperature in this room is 71.9 degrees. Okay? And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what happens when I shoot my hand. My hand is 87.9. That wall right there, if you can see that, is 72.3. Okay? So what the difference what this dot does, by the way, I got this at Home Depot. Okay? What this dot does for you is it tells you the temperature wherever we shoot it. Okay? Well, the very first summer I was doing this, I was getting in and out of attics, and I was crawling up there and I saw how hot it was, and I was at Home Depot getting a tape measure. And I ran across this little tool right here. And this little tool right here has become my favorite toy. As a carpenter, I love skill saws and drills and everything you can think of. So when I found this, I was pretty excited. Why? Because the very first summer, I shined this on the ceiling of a house, right by the attic access, and I looked at the temperature. It was 74 degrees. And in 12 inches, in other words, I shined it right here. It was 74 degrees. And in 12 inches, which is about right here, it was 154 in that gentleman's attic. And that was in Iowa. Imagine what it's like in other parts of this country, and imagine how uncomfortable it really gets in those homes. Do you realize a heat sensor in your attic that's for a fire alarm is set to go off at 175? So you're within 20 degrees, 21 degrees of combustion for your sensors in your attics to go off and say, hey, our house is about to burn down. Okay? That's how hot it is on a daily basis in your attic. And the farther south you go, obviously the hotter and longer it stays there. And I'm talking about your summer heat. Okay? Now, last winter in Iowa, the coldest day I saw was 12 degrees outside. In my attic, that morning, it was 14. Under the blanket in my attic, down here, it was 79. It was 78 degrees in my closet of the master bedroom that I had problems with. Now on a cold day in February, it's 12 degrees outside, 14 in my attic, so I got a 2-degree temperature change. 2. Normally, when we go into an attic to do an install in the winter, up here in the northern climates, you don't even need a coat. I don't care how cold it is outside, you don't need a coat in an attic because there's that much heat loss going up there. Okay? So, what we're going to do is we stop that loss and gain of heat. Now, continuing on, it's pretty safe to say I'm not an inventor. I think a lot of people wish they were, and I do too, but I'm not. All I am is a guy that saw this. I'm a common sense carpenter that saw something and I'm willing to share it with other people. I found something that works, and my biggest frustration I have is why haven't I heard about this from other people? Why did I have to hear from a young man? I've had every salesman walk in my office you can think of that's in the new home industry trying to sell me something for my new homes. I got the most high-tech offers on systems for computers and for networking in your home. I've had everything you can think of for different types of carpet and different types of everything. Okay? So, where did this stuff come from? This stuff come from this little symbol right here. Don't know if you can see it, but it's NASA is who it is. NASA. NASA. NASA is the ones that is basically responsible for the development of the reflective insulation technology. NASA is the ones that took and they put it into operation, and the problem they had was when NASA first started, they had a problem keeping an astronaut alive in space. According to the experts, it took 7 feet of this yellow or pink insulation wrapped around an astronaut to keep him alive in space. 7 feet. Now, by coincidence, I'm standing here talking to you, fingertip to fingertip, I'm 6'11". Okay? Imagine what an astronaut would look like with this much insulation wrapped around him. 6'11". Okay, so there's 7 feet right there. Now the other problem that astronaut has is he's got to do that same thing around his arms. 7 feet of insulation around his arms and 7 feet of insulation around his leg. Meaning it wasn't feasible. NASA comes back, the engineers sat down, this is in the early 1960s, late 1950s, is when they come up with this realization. And the reflectivity of this product, I don't think I've said the exact word yet, but I think most of you probably figured it out. Ladies, what's this made out of? This is made out of aluminum. Okay? It's reflective insulation made with a layer, quarter-inch layer of insulation in the middle and a layer of insulation of aluminum on both sides. Okay, so you're looking at reflective insulation, not radiant barrier. And what this does is it comes on the roll and we lay this on top of the insulation in your attic. Okay? Now, I'm going to spend the next few minutes thanking NASA and all the other experts in the world for their design and their technique that they learned to use just with aluminum. I didn't realize, maybe you folks do, but I didn't realize where all else I see aluminum in my life. I'm very much aware of it today. And one of the most common places you'll see it is wrapped around an air conditioner, especially in Florida. But a lot of your heating and cooling contractors won't tell you about it. Okay? But they use it every day. You'll see it in the headline, in the engine block. You see it between the firewall and the car. Now, where did I have a couple see it? They stood up and they told me. I had a couple work for Boeing all the way for 30 years. And their comment to me was, Dennis, we've been putting this stuff in airplanes ever since we worked for them. Okay, so NASA used it and it changed our space shuttle program. I'm going to read to you a statement put out many years ago. And here it goes. Ready? Apollo 7 astronaut says this about the attic blanket. I can assure you that this technology will save you money and work in your home, just as it did in our spacecraft and our space suits. Walter Cunningham. Now, according to this little picture I got here, and I know my graphics are terrible on this camera, okay? But according to this picture right here, an astronaut in space goes through a temperature change of 250 degrees above zero to 460 below. How did that happen with an astronaut being able to go into space? What they found out was 3 layers of aluminum mixed in that astronaut spacesuit, along with insulation, allowed them to get that down to 18 to 24 inches in diameter or thickness, compared to 7 feet. That's how they allowed the Apollo space program to take off, and that's how they allowed the astronauts to walk in space. Aluminum. Okay? Now, because I've read that statement a couple hundred times, last fall, my wife and I just happened to be in Orlando, Florida, doing this business. And while we were down there, we went out to Cape Canaveral. I don't know if you've ever been to Cape Canaveral, but it's a fascinating place to go. Our grandson was with us, and we went out and we walked around. I'm going to tell you this story real quick because I've read this so many times. I wanted to be able to verify the information I shared with you as accurately as possible. Walked into Cape Canaveral, and the first 10 minutes we were there, I saw an opportunity to sit down and listen to an astronaut speak. The name of that astronaut was Rick Searfoss. And Rick Searfoss stood up on stage and talked about the astronauts' experiences and the things an astronaut could do to just being himself. He was a pilot for the Space Shuttle Discovery. Okay, he landed the Space Shuttle. After Rick Searfoss finished up with his, he opened up the room for questions and answers. And as he passed the microphone around the room, as everybody asked questions, I had this little young man sitting next to me. And he raised his hand, and they brought the microphone over, and they stuck the microphone in front of him, and he said, "Sir, can you tell us about aliens in space, please?" And everybody just busted out laughing. And the thing he said to him, the Rick Searfoss's answer was, he says, "Son, based on the vast size of the universe and my years of knowledge, I find it hard to believe that there's not other forms of life out there." He says, "But whether or not we ever developed the technology to find them, or they ever developed the technology to find us, is yet to be determined." Which I thought was a pretty good answer, and you can fill in the blank from there. Okay? But the question I asked him, I said, was, "Sir, can you please tell us about the temperature changes in space?" And his answer was this. He was standing at his podium. His podium that he was talking from was probably about 3 feet wide. And in that 3 feet, he said to us, his comment was, he says, "An astronaut will go through a temperature change of over 500 degrees in less than 3 feet. In less than 3 feet, an astronaut will go through over 500 degrees, all based on his direct relationship to the sun." No. The Earth. And the reason is because the temperature coming off the Earth, the radiant heat coming off the Earth, was coming off the Earth at over 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Now I hope you can see that little red dot right there. But that little red dot was coming off the Earth at 250 degrees. Okay? And so when an astronaut is in the line and it can be seen, it's going to be 250 degrees. But as soon as he goes into shadows, the temperature drops over 360 degrees below zero. Just like that. Now that temperature change, and his comment was, it was aluminum that allowed astronauts and NASA to make their travel through space. Okay, now, we all know it's not very realistic for us to just call up an astronaut and say, "Sir, do you think I should put this in my home?" Okay? But let's keep talking about aluminum, because that's where it all started, and there's been all other kinds of aluminum that's shown up since. Okay? Now, this right here is called a survival wrap. Actually, it's called a thermal wrap, and we get it from MCR Medical. We buy them in bulk. If you notice my left finger, and I'll just show you so you guys can see, I'm not kidding you. It says right on it, made in China. I apologize for that, but that's where we can get these. Okay, it's not our product. We don't market it, we don't sell it. But what I am showing you is this, and this piece of aluminum come out of exactly the same bag. This here came out of this bag. Okay? And I'm going to show you here. I usually use somebody else, but since I'm in front here today, what we do is if you take this little thin piece of aluminum, I don't know if it's possible at all to see through it, okay? But we take this little thin piece of aluminum, and it's called a survival wrap. It is a blanket. You wrap yourself up in it, especially if you've ever been in an accident, if you're stranded. You wrap yourself up in this, and this little bit of time that I'm sitting here, I can feel my body heat rising off of this. And this traps in your body heat and keeps you, and that's why it's made for survival. Okay? Now, heating our house up is the same way. Keeping yourself cool is the same way, because it says right on this bag, what it says is, blanket helps prevent heat loss and hypothermia when wrapped around the body. It is also waterproof and can be used as a signaling device or windbreaker. So what that means is that little thin piece of aluminum, which is like some people will say Reynolds wrap or aluminum foil, which there's still a difference there. But that little thin piece of aluminum can save your life. And in our seminars that we do throughout the country, I've had many people stand up and tell their story. And one of the best ones we had was years ago, a state trooper out in Nebraska told his story, how it saved. He went out in a stranded blizzard and had to give people a blanket to keep alive. And he says that people survived that night because of that blanket. Couldn't get them all back in one vehicle. He was out to a bus. So, and anybody that's ever done any mountain biking or mountain climbing, or anybody that's ever had a survival course will always know about these survival wraps. Emergency medical technicians use them all the time in their vehicles. They come across the scene of an accident, they need to cover a person up that's going into shock to help save their lives. They pull those out of the trunk of their cars. Okay? So I highly recommend you can always, if you see an opportunity to pick one of these up, to get them. And almost all of our seminar people and all of our representatives do carry these. So if you ever want to get one, we can always help you out. Okay? Now, that's aluminum. Where else do you see aluminum? When I was growing up, I used to get to spend the last part of the summer on the farm with my grandpa. Okay, now this might be a long story, but I'm going to show you why. Because I used to go out in the mornings and we'd go out in the field, and my grandma would pour my grandpa a thermos of coffee. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, my grandpa would stop, take a coffee break. Why is it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon something was poured in a thermos approximately 6 a.m., 8 hours before, is it still so hot that he has to sip it? Well, there's a combination in that thermos. Remember the good old-fashioned glass thermoses that are vacuum sealed and lined with aluminum. Okay? That's what the difference is right there. Some of you folks may have those still in your home, but in my construction years I broke them too many times, so now I got the good old-fashioned stainless steel one for my construction because I'm just too hard on them. Okay? They bounce around too much. But the idea is aluminum lines them and works well. Now, maybe in your personal life you've seen them, maybe you've gone to the grocery store, maybe you picked up the new freezer bags you see in the grocery store, keep your cold stuff home more efficiently. There's all kinds of places you see it. Now, another very extreme example that you see them is this right here. And we're keeping this on a real simple level, and you can always get onto our website and look this up. But this right here is a picture of some firefighters covered in smoke. Okay? And you can see it's a bad picture. It's not about the picture. It's the fact that these are your hot shots, fire jumpers that jump out of planes. Just recently we had some severe forest fires in Colorado. Last summer they were down in Texas where they were really bad. I'm going to read to you an article here about forest firefighters and what they go through. Here we go. And this story is pretty old. 73 firefighters trapped in a Butte forest fire were saved by using a survival fire shelter, which is an aluminized tent used to reflect extreme heat. The men survived after an hour and a half, covered with their shelters, able to withstand exterior temperatures up to 1,200 degrees, during which time the firestorm passed over them 3 times. Not once, not twice, but 3 times these guys survived a firestorm, and all they had was this aluminum blanket to cover them up. Now, I'm going to show you a picture here, and this came right from the forestry divisions, and that right there is an official fireproof tent. I don't know if you can see it down in here, but there's your tent right there, and that's how they cover up, okay? And it says right on here, when the material reaches about 500 degrees, the glue that bonds the layers begins to break down. How would you like to have this be your lifesaver? Okay? Now, doing these seminars and working with the people we work with throughout the country, I just had a personal experience shared with me a while back. I'm going to share it with you folks right now. And that personal experience is this. A young man was flying out of Colorado Springs back in the 90s. He was flying out of Colorado Springs, and he was flying to fire jumper school. He just happened to be sitting there with one of our guys that now works for us. And he was sitting there, and he talked to him. He said, "Son," he said, "well, so what do you do?" And he told him, he said, "I'm going to fire jumper school." In that same period, a few weeks previous, there was 14 firemen that lost their lives. And they got to talking about that, and this guy that works with us says, "Son," he says, "if I ask you a question, why would you be going to fire jumper school after what just happened recently? Why would you want to become a hotshot?" He said, "Well," he said, "let me tell you the rest of that story. That day, running up that ridge with a fire chasing him, all they had was a blanket to keep them alive. There's 14 people that didn't make it. This young man's best friend was the 15th person. This one person out of 15 got over the ridge and got over the hill in time to cover himself up with aluminum. And what happened next is something you would never want to experience. This man covered himself up in this tent, and he listened to 14 of his friends burn to death. How would you like to be that person? Now, I don't want to ever have to go find out how well this blanket's going to work. I'm not going to go to the moon. I'm not trying to go into outer space. I'm surely not looking forward to fighting a fire to find out if that's going to keep me alive. But what if one of those people were watching this right now? What do you think they would say about putting that blanket in their home? Okay, that's what this is about. Okay, whether it can be energy efficient, can we save you some money, can it work? Okay, now, I didn't bring my coat today, and everybody yells at me because it's summer and I don't have my coat. Guys, these are the tags off of the jacket that my wife gave me for Christmas. If you look at that close enough, you can see right on it, this jacket is made by Columbia. And it says right on there, the future of warmth. Omni-reflective heat. Okay? My jacket, made by Columbia, you can pick up at any store that sells Columbia products, is lined with a shiny, reflective product that keeps me the warmest and the lightweight coat I've ever had. Okay? Technology is changing. Technology is growing. And that's what this is about, is showing you something that has changed my life and changed my home. And changed many, many people. Alright? As I walk around the room here, I'm cleaning up the area so you folks can see this. Alright? But I also don't believe it's fair to go through this whole seminar and not share with you the fact that we have seen other people out there, and these are the 2 most common forms of other aluminum type products that we see. Now I'm going to explain this real quickly, okay? But these 2 here are radiant barriers. They're not reflective insulation. There's no insulation in this thin piece of aluminum. All this aluminum here is, I took this out of a lady's attic. I went to her house, I did my demonstration, she invited me out, and I took this piece right out of a lady's attic. Okay? In a second I'm going to show you why. This piece right here, I got at my favorite store, Home Depot. Okay, they sell it. It works. It's plastic. It's lined. It's got some plastic bubbles in the middle, and it's set up to trap in the radiant heat and not let it get out. Okay. Now I'm going to turn these lights on, and hopefully these lights will work for you, so we can see this properly. Okay. And here we go. I'm going to show you something about these. Can you see the little orange dots that are coming through right there? Can you see that? The idea behind that is it's supposed to breathe. This one right here, you see through there? Nothing there, is there? Okay? Those two, the little pinhole right here traps in water. I can cup this. I can hold it like this. I can leave it overnight. Put water in there, and there's still water there in the morning. It holds it in. Okay? Meaning, you put this in your attic. Excuse me. You put this in your attic, and what you're going to have up there is you're going to have very, very serious conditions can develop from not enough ventilation. Okay? Because your home has to breathe. Now, this one here, obviously, it's a solid. There's no way moisture's getting through this. The other thing is, if I take a big lighter, I can't do it here because I'll set the fire alarms off, but if I take a big lighter, and I challenge you, if you ever run into somebody that's got this type of material, just get your big lighter out, light the corner right here on fire, and if I held this like this, I'd burn my hand up. Well, if I didn't let go. This piece here is exactly the same way. It's plastic. It'll burn right up. They both have values, but I just wouldn't put them in my home. Okay? They do have a good value. Now, if I'm showing you all that, doesn't it make sense? See this? I just tear this apart. No big deal. I'm going to turn the lights on. I'm going to see what happens. You can see that? You can see how well that breathes? Every little hole shows right up. You see that? Now, if I pull this over, it's not going to breathe, is it? See there? It's solid. I fold this one here over. It had little pinholes. It's obviously not going to breathe either, is it? See the difference? Okay. I take it, I come. I'm going to show you this right here. If I lap this insulation over in your attic, which is how we install it, it overlaps 4 to 6 inches. What happens right here is the moisture war is now on. We put these sponges underneath here to give you a better example of how the insulation works. Here's how it lays down in your attic. We put one layer, and when we overlap it at the end of a 4-foot roll, it lays like this. You ever had a roof leak in your home? You ever had a spot in your house where you looked up and you saw a water drip? Well, the perforations in this act like a roof leak. That's not bad. That's good. And what I'm saying by that is if you leave water a chance to get in or out, it will find it. Many, many times in my years of construction, I've had people called out for roof leaks that started on one side of the house and actually came out of a ceiling vent or a can light or by a window. Leak didn't originate there, but it got out. Same thing here. You overlap these two together, it's going to allow the moisture to escape from your home. And in a humid climate, that is very, very important. Okay? Now the last one I'm going to show you came right off a job site down in Norman, Oklahoma. And this right here is a piece of roof sheeting that came from Norman, Oklahoma. Okay? On the other side is a radiant barrier that came on the sheet as a solid sheet. It came right off the roof. Okay? And what these guys were doing is they were sheeting the roof with the reflective side supposed to be up to reflect the radiant heat off your roof, not letting it build up. Now in a southern climate, that's a pretty good idea. Okay? It doesn't do anything for your comfort in your home in the winter. It doesn't do anything because your insulation is way down here. Okay? So your soffit breathes, so less the cold and hot air in your soffit. So in Oklahoma with this on a 105-degree day, it's going to be at least 105 in your attic because the soffit, the ambient temperature is going to come right through. Okay? So this has value. but I wouldn't recommend it at all in a northern climate. Okay? Because you got to trap in the heat before you don't lose it in winter. Now the other thing is, and I'm not trying to be sarcastic when I say this, but this is how it happened. I was at a stop sign, four-way stop sign, when I saw a reflective, I got hit in the eyes with some reflectivity. I looked up and these guys were sheeting this roof with this material. So being a contractor and being very accustomed to being on a job site, I just pulled right up and started talking to the guys. And I said to them, I said, hey guys, can you tell me something? I want to ask you a question. How come you're not sheeting the roof with the shiny surface side up? Why are you putting it down? Okay, and their response was, oh sir, you know, when we go and sheet the roof and we put this up this way, it hurts my eyes. Okay, so application is critical, and this guy's spending thousands of dollars to sheet his roof, and they're putting it upside down. Okay, now there'll be an expert in the industry that says you can put it this way. I don't really want the reflectivity reflecting back into my house, and this coming right back in here into my OSB sheeting. Okay? You're not in my house. If I build this and I put this in my home, I'm putting it up. Okay? Now, thank you for your time. I appreciate you getting to this point. What I'm going to do now is I'm finally going to get to what Matt did, and it's been a while. I appreciate you listening, and I understand that sometimes it gets a little boring in between, but I felt you need to share the information so you had as full of understanding as I can share with you today. Okay? What I'm going to do now is what Matt did for me. The very first day I met, Matt came into my office and showed me our product. Okay? What I'm going to do is I got two temperature gauges sitting over here. I'm going to take this temperature gauge and I'm going to put it right here underneath the blanket, and as you can see, I'm going to keep it relatively close to the top. And that is for experiment purposes only. Not because that's where we put them, okay? But I'm doing it for time constraints because time is of essence here. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to set this up right here like so. Okay? I'm going to set it right there. And I'm going to take these cords, I'm going to set them on the ground because this is on a thermometer right there. And I hope we can set this up so you can see that. Okay? We'll do the same thing on this side. That one there, the temperature is 73.4. And I guess I'm pretty fortunate today. This one here says 73.4 also. Okay? So what I'm going to do right now, and I always ask this question, I'm going to put a piece of this on top, on either the left side or the right side. And when I ask this question, in a public outing, or even in a customer's home, the first thing I say to them, you want me to put this on the left side or the right side? And they look at me and they say left. And my question to them is, mine or yours? What side do you want me to put it on? Mine or yours? Okay? I have a little cameraman in the background that says go ahead and put it on this side over here. So that's what I'm going to do. We still have 73.7 and 73.9 because this insulation down in here wasn't my pickup stuff. It's a little warmer than it is in the room temperature right now. But here we go. We'll set it on top, just like so, just like we would do in your home. So now what we're going to see is, the reality of this, is we're going to see whose utility bill we want to pay. Okay? Do we want to pay the one on the right, looking at it on the right side, or looking at it on the left side? This is an example of most homes in America. This is an example of a home with it installed. Okay? Now remember, this is all I saw the day Matt walked into my office. Alright, now here we go. I'm going to turn the lights on. This is two 250 watt heat lamps. And what these lights are designed to do is show you the heat that's building up in your home as you speak. Every morning in the summer, the sun shines on our homes, and the radiant heat from the sun shines on our house. Now, one thing I didn't say earlier about radiant heat, now remember, this is our summer experiment, okay? What we're going to watch is these temperatures start to go up. And let's just say we have our temperature set on 77 degrees. I'm going to even give us a little room to climb and say 77, okay? Now as these temperatures start to rise, at 77, nothing happens on your air conditioner. But at 78, your air conditioner turns on, okay? As I look down here, I can see that one's already at 81, Same temperature, same light. This one here is 75. Now when I go like that, and I shoot that temperature right there is 156. Okay? That's what the temperature is shining in on this on top. Insulation is designed to do what? Absorb heat. That's exactly what this attic is doing, is absorbing heat. Now as I look at the temperature, we're at 82.2 to 75.2. Okay? So the temperature gauges you can see are changing, and the thing about it is the air conditioner on this side of the room turned on a little bit ago already. The air conditioner on the other side of the room is just holding tight. We're at 75.5. And right now this one here is up to 89.9. Okay? See the difference already starting to climb. And the temperature right here is 137. The heat's going into the lights, coming down, absorbing down into the thing. Oh, as I look down over here, I see 75.7. 1 full degree temperature change so far. This one right here is up to 90.5. Which air conditioning bill do you want to pay? Now if you want to do this in the winter, you just flip this box upside down, because this is the heat rising out of your house and doing exactly the same thing. Okay? And as I continue to talk, these temperatures are going to continue to climb. And at this point, at 100.4, Matt showed me this and tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Dennis, you need to see this. Please get off the phone." At that time, it was 107. Now, as I look down here, 106.3 to 76.1. Pretty quick on math, that's a 30-degree temperature change. In less than just, what, 2 minutes? 112.2. I kind of sound like an auctioneer, don't I? Do I hear 112? Do I hear 114? See, this thing continues to climb, and we're not even to your normal afternoon attic temperature in your house right now today. That's what makes such a difference. This is your afternoon home. You got 130-degree heat, 120, 140, 150. But over here you got the same heat trying to get into your home. But today it's only setting on 76.4. Okay? How's that for amazing? This is all I saw. And I appreciate if you bothered to listen, as long as I've been talking. I'm pretty long-winded. If you bothered to listen, I appreciate it. But if this is all you're seeing, in my opinion, because that's all it took, that should be enough. Okay? Now I'm going to walk back and look at this one more time. 125.4, 76.6. How efficient is this product? This product isn't 100% efficient, it's only 97. This is because it's made out of 99.9% pure polished aluminum. It makes it 97% efficient. Now I'm up to 131 to 76.8. I am soon going to change, and my air conditioner is going to cycle on one time here in a second on this side. And on this side over here, it never once turned off. It's been running and running and running, and it's up to 138.2. Isn't that crazy? How much that changes? I mean, it really is, isn't it? And there's no way. I can sit here, and if I put something underneath here and I set a light, I'm going to set that right there. We'll let that cook for a little bit. That's how hot these lights are. These lights are so hot that they'll melt a pin. They'll burn your hands. That's how much heat. Because of our experiment, we want to see. Remember, this is strong enough to survive space and a fire. Now I'm looking at it right here, 149.7 to 77.0 even. 149.7 over here, 77, almost 100% difference in temperature change. Now this experiment stops at 158 degrees. Anybody know why? The reason it stops at 158 is because that's all better my temperature gauges are. I bought them at Home Depot. That's as good as they get. Now I'm at 156.2, 77.3. We still haven't turned on our air conditioner on this side yet. Our air conditioner still is not ran today. Doesn't it make sense? It's going to save you some energy on your air conditioning bill. This one over here just went off to H's. H, 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 H. Okay? Now I don't know if you can see this on this pin here, but if I'm going to set it right there, can you see how that pin's starting to just melt and turn? See how that right there is already turned around? Literally melting the pin. That's how hot that is. Now I just took that off there. This is no trickery. You know you can do it on a camera. I understand. I'm going to take this off right now. I got 77.7 HHH, which means it's over 158. I always ask people, HHH, what's that stand for? Hot, 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 hot. Or hotter than? I didn't say it, but I know what you're thinking. Okay, now watch this. I did this by accident one day. Right now on this side, that temperature has climbed up to 220 some degrees. Okay? Now, it goes off, it doesn't stay on my temperature gauge, so I have to move back and catch it on the camera. I'm going to watch it, 222 or 220 some degrees, it was right there on that side. I'm going to pick this up, and I'm going to take this over here by the camera, and I'm going to shoot this on the red dot, and I'm going to show you the camera. I'm going to show it to the camera. I hope you can catch it in the first try. You ready? Watch this. I'm taking it right off. It was just 220 on the other side a second ago. I'm taking it right off. I'm shooting it. What's that say?
83.
83 degrees. Look at that. 220 on this side. Now watch this. I'm going to go down here. I just took that off a second ago. And I'm going to shoot that spot right there. What's that say?
80.
I'm going to go right over here. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to shoot this spot. What's that say?
122.
There you go. I rest my case. 40, 50 degree temperature change every time in your home, in your attic today. Tell me which one your air conditioner would like and which one your furnace would like in the winter. And when your wife or you goes and pays your utility bills, which one would make more sense to have? Now, I can give you example after example of comfort in the home that is provided by this. And I'll just tell you real quickly, last summer, a year ago, I was in Oklahoma City when they had those 16 days or 18 days in a row over 100 degrees. Went to a lady's house and I was following up with her to see how we did on the install. And the very next day after we did it, I stopped by her house and asked her how things were going. The lady had a tear in her eye. I said, ma'am, is everything okay? And she said, oh, Dennis. She says, my husband and I slept in our master bedroom for the first time in 15 days last night. Didn't do anything different than put this in their attic. And one day, they slept. They were able to sleep in their home comfortably. And we have example after example of exactly that. Of not only does this give utility savings of 35 to 40%, let's just say 25%. Let's keep it slow. Keep it low. Tell me somebody you know that can give you 25% savings on every day on anything you do. Okay, now, what I'm going to ask you folks to do next is we're going to ask you to fill out a registration card. And this registration card serves three purposes. Number one, it clears us with the IRS and proves to us that we fed you folks lunch today. Number two, we're going to have a drawing. We're going to have a registration for a drawing, and this will register you for it. And somebody in this room is going to win in a drawing today. Okay? We're going to invite you back to eat here again tonight or today, wherever you. We're going to give a gift certificate to the restaurant that we were just at. Now the third thing is we're going to ask you if we can come out to your home and give you a no obligation bid. It takes about 10 minutes, and we're going to see if we can give you an estimate to see what it costs. Here's what the card says. Yes, I'd like to have a no obligation bid for my home, or no, I don't wish to learn how I can save up to 40% of my heating and cooling costs. Which one are you? Okay, we're going to pass this around to the room. What we'd like you to do is fill it out. When you get it filled out and you got it all done, raise your hand, we'll come by and pick it up. Okay? Now, as we pass these around the room, and you folks get started filling these cards out, I don't believe it's fair you spend this much time with us and us not share with you the cost. I don't want to come out to your house and surprise you. I don't want to come out and give you an estimate that you thought was unrealistic. Okay? So as you fill out the cards, what I'm going to say to you right now is I'm going to give you our pricing. Today, currently, our nationwide suggested retail price is just a little over $3 a foot. Okay? Manufacturer's suggested retail price is a little bit over $3 a square foot installed. Okay? Our normal everyday company price, as I'm saying this today, right now at this time, is $2.67 a square foot installed, including labor and materials, and our guarantee. At that $2.67, it's cheaper a square foot of your attic space, not your living space, of your attic space. At $2.67 a square foot, that's cheaper than roofing, siding, doors, windows, floor coverings, anything you're going to do to your home, especially anything you're going to do to your home, that's going to come out and give you a payback. If you put all this on your home and you go out and you go put a new roof on, are you going to save any money in utility bills? 3, 4, 5%? You go out and you put new windows in, you're going to have a cosmetically good looking house. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm in construction. I'm used to it. But financially and comfort-wise, they're not going to make a drastic change. Remember, 93% of the heat that enters your home in the summer comes through the roof. Let's put it right there. Let's put our first investment right there. We'll work on the rest because this one pays us back. Okay? So at $2.67 a square foot, we're cheaper than anything else you can do in your house. Now when you attend one of our seminars anywhere in the country, we're going to give you seminar pricing. And that seminar pricing is way more competitive than what we're talking right here as our suggested retail. And the reason is we do it in groups. And as we come out to your home and we talk to you folks, we're going to ask you to get on the install list for next week. And if you sign up and get on the install list, we're going to give this to you for $2.10 a square foot. Okay? And at $2.10 a square foot, that's going to include a free utility bill. From $2.67 to $2.10, we're throwing in a free utility bill. We're going to discount. We want to see your utility bills when they come out because we're going to deduct that off of our final square foot price. And when we come out and we give you that estimate, we review your utility bills and we're going to give you an estimate of savings. We've been in a lot of homes, folks. We understand. This year, last month alone, we had over 103 customers in 30 days join our company. And every one of them satisfied. We've never taken this out of a house that we've installed it in. Do you know why? One of the #1 reasons we've never taken this out of a home is this little system I have right here in my hand. This right here is a wireless temperature gauge. This is a digital, remote, wireless temperature gauge. We set this in your home, and you can set this in your living room, in your kitchen, in your bedroom. We prefer to put it close to your attic access. But what we put in your attic, is this sits in your house for you to read. What we put in your attic is this right here. This one here mounts up in your rafters. It's up here. Okay? It shows you the heat, the temperature in your attic every day. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We know our product works so well that we put this right underneath it in your blanket, and you can, with a push of a button, you know the 2 different temperatures. So if we put this in your home, and these things don't do what it says it's doing, we know you're going to call us. That's why we have satisfied customers. That's why our customers, when they call us, they give us compliments. They call us up and say, Dennis, I'd like to thank you very much for putting this in our home. We have a whole bulletin board out here full of straight A report cards from our customers that we work for. Okay? And it's because it works. Not because of us, but because this works. Now, I'm going to say one more thing. If you've ever served in the United States military, thank you. And we appreciate it so much that we have a full-time 10% veterans discount. So if you or any one of your family members has ever served in the United States military, we're going to give you another 10% off. And that's going to get you down on a seminar price of around $1.95 a square foot. Okay? Now for $1.95 a square foot, that's guaranteed. That's installed. That's the system right here includes everything, so you can always see the results in your own home. And we'll do it next week. And for those of you that are in a situation like many people have been in the past, We have what we call an easy pay plan that allows you to put this on a monthly installment base that is very, very easy to do. That's why we call it easy pay. Do you know why? Because 88% of our customers save enough money on their utility bills to pay for this and never once have to pay for it out of their pocket. That's how well this works, folks. We guarantee it. Okay? So when you get your cards filled out, raise your hands. We'll come by and pick them up. We'll get the drawing and get you out of here. Now, the one more thing I do want to say is satisfaction guaranteed to the point that if in 72 months you haven't recovered 100% of the cost of this being installed in your home through energy savings, we will refund you the difference. So we don't only know it works, we guarantee it works with a 16.66% interest rate to back it up. I'm not sure what your CDs are paying today. I'm not sure what they are, but here in Iowa, they're not paying real well. I think they're paying a little bit under 16%. We're in the 1s, 2s, and 3s. Okay? And so, you take this, we put it in your home, it's yours. You get to keep it forever. And one more thing, for $150, we'll move it anywhere near you. We'll come out, we'll take it out of your home, and we'll move it 75 miles for $150 anytime in the first 5 years if you move. And so we're going to increase the home value of your home. We're going to get your home off the market faster because you're going green. Okay, in today's business economy, the most efficient home on the block and the best looking home is the one that sells. I'm not guaranteeing you're going to get the price you think you need, but that's because of where we are today in our business world. But I can promise you this home's coming off the market faster than your neighbors. Okay? Now, doing our drawing, when we do our drawing, what I always ask folks is who's ever won anything big in a drawing? And my two biggest winners so far in a drawing is I had one person down in Barnesville, Oklahoma, hold up a check for $25,000. When he held that check up for $25,000, I told him, sir, you're out of the drawing today. And everybody started laughing. Okay, but no, he was in. And the second best one I had was a lady right here in Des Moines, Iowa. She raised her hand, she said, Dennis, I want a house. And I asked her, I said, ma'am, I said, how did you win a house? How is it possible for you to win a house? Well, Habitat for Humanity builds houses every year in our community, just like I'm sure they do in yours. And when they built that house that year, they built extra homes. And she got in on a raffle, called into the radio station, and actually got in on the drawing for the new home. She was in line that day, she reached into the box of keys along with 100 other people, pulled her key out, stuck it in the door, turned it, and it opened. Now, how's that for a house? Huh? Me being a contractor, my wife being a realtor, I had to ask her, ma'am, what'd you do with the home? And her comment to me was, well, my husband and I didn't need it, so we gave it back to Habitat for Humanity. Now, how's that for your feel-good story for the day? We're not giving away a house, we're not giving away a Harley, but we are giving away a $25 gift certificate to come back here and eat one more time at this restaurant. So folks, we're going to do the drawing, we're going to get you guys out of here, and we appreciate you all coming. Now, after we do the drawing, here's what I always say. Number one, if you enjoyed the food. Number two, if you enjoyed the information I shared with you. And number three, if you like me, can you please tell people where you went today, where you saw this, and how you saw it and what for. But on the other hand, if you didn't like the food, didn't like the information, and especially if you didn't like me, can you just tell everybody you hit the McDonald's drive-thru today for lunch and you went on home? Okay? You folks, thanks for coming. We had a great day, and we'll all see you soon. Now, for all you folks out there that put yes on your card, please don't give up on us because we're coming. The company only gives us today, this afternoon, tonight, and tomorrow morning to come out and visit you. So please be flexible. Understand if I miss your time, I'm still coming. I'll give you a little bit of a notice, but if you put an exact time and I'm on time, I'm coming. I might not even call you. So please work with me. I appreciate your time today, folks. Thank you for watching Energy Solutions of America. Have a great day. God bless.